Welcome to the Grow Old Disgracefully podcast with myself and Ruth. Ruth, how are you? It has been a while again, yeah. Have you settled back into British life after having been away? Good. Oh no. Yay! Yeah, that'll be a strange one. Just kind of go in and just chill and see how you get on. Mm, yeah, that's it. I just you see it all. We've just getting stuff done more than anything else. Admin, life admin. Yep. Yeah, that's it. All back, all back. So is that when they're back? Is it? Wow, that seems like a long holiday. July, end of July, end of June, start of July, maybe something like that. I have no idea. Mm, always fun. Always fun.
Was actually doing a little bit of research just then because I thought, oh, it would be nice to see what Google Trends are for me and Andy to chat about today. But it turns out we're very out the loop, aren't we?
Yeah, we did. I had no idea that Billy Ray Cyrus was dating Liz Hurley. Who'd have
Well,
thunk it?
was but isn't
Or
anymore because we were like, why is that a Google Trend? Why is Billy Ray Cyrus a Google Trend? And
I
you know,
genuinely thought it was because he was dead.
I questioned that, and then the news is not that, so we're very out of touch. So on that note, I think looking at this, it's also got things for classrooms. So I'm guessing there's teachers googling a lot, a bit about Bake
Googling
Off.
how Googling
Yeah,
how to do their lesson plans because they've forgotten because they've been off school for that long.
do you know, I put up on my story about because I'm definitely a summer person more than a winter person, time of year. And I thought, well, I'm not going to go into autumn being like, oh, it's so sad, summer's over. And so I put up kind of a thing saying, what are your favourite things about this time of year? And obviously, I got a few teachers back going, no, September is not the time for me. And I thought, yes, I nearly forgot that when we're all like, yay, kids are going back to school, get back into routine, the
They're
teachers,
good, the complete opposite. Let's be fair though, it's not like they do very much.
oh, do you know, Andy, you're talking to the wrong person because I used to be a teacher and there's a good reason why I'm not anymore.
Yeah, because it's boring. You guys just work on holidays, don't you?
Every teacher listening is going to be screaming at the thing now. I tell you what,
It's,
though, I would
it's a
love
pity.
to
It
see
sounds
you
like an
do
easy
it.
enough job. Oh,
I
the
would.
thing is, I would not get on very well. There would be kids being lobbed out of windows and all manner of stuff.
Whereas the actual working with the kids was okay, but it was all the like other stuff. I think I wasn't so
Yeah,
keen on the pressure that you kind of
I
get
can
given a
imagine the paperwork is just guff.
and and you get these children that I don't know, they come in and they can't read, and then they're like they have to be able to do that, or they have to be able to do all these times tables by the end of year four or whatever it is, and you're thinking,
Yeah,
but what if they can't? And it's not necessarily a reflection on teaching; it's just they're not there yet, and those types of things, arguing the case
yeah.
of kids, isn't it? It's
So you'll be able to tell me. So what were the little ones that you used to put in like school reports? Like Mine's was I always got would if Andrew would stop acting class clown and put himself more into work, he could be a very good student, which I kind of regard as being Andrew's a little dick. So
I mean, it does say like he's a massive pain in the ass, doesn't he? I think I
yeah,
was always so. Do you know? I remember like working ages ago, doing like I think it was an online seminar or something, and it was with this coach, and he was saying to people, you know, the way you give feedback is, and I was thinking, do people not know that? Like, and it was basically a shit sandwich. So you'd
yeah,
always start with a positive, a thing that they could improve on, and finish with a positive as well. Just put it in the middle. So the last thing they read is something positive. And I could normally find nice things to say about all the children, even if I had to dig deep, you know.
even if I had to dig deep, I like that.
No, they were like the kids aren't the issue. It's more that
The
it's
parents.
more that yeah, that sounds awful, doesn't it? But like there are certain parents that you're kind of thinking, I need to make sure they're kind of more sensitive. But
Yeah.
actually, to be fair, I had really nice kids in my class, and I had pretty nice parents in my last school as well. So yeah, I was lucky, but I still left because
Yes.
gosh, thank
Understandable.
goodness, I love doing what I do now. So that's good. Um, how has your training been going, Andy? Are you all about the gains at the moment?
Um, training's been going well. And it's not really got too much of an aim at the moment, which is unusual for me because normally if my training's not got too much of a goal on the back end of it, it kind of stagnates a little bit. But actually, I'm just enjoying training at the moment. Um,
Yes,
I think
that's
this training split that I've got currently is I'm really enjoying. So actually, I'm just enjoying hitting the movements and stuff that I've got in my training. And yeah, no, everything seems to be ticking along quite nicely. I seem to be holding strength. I'm kind of doing a little bit of a cut at the moment. Strength's holding quite nicely, which I always find quite interesting because I always think people expect strength to disappear very quickly when you start cutting. I find it the opposite. I actually find that the first sort of 6 week, 8 weeks of a cut for me, my strength seems to go up because you end up feeling your body better. You're actually fueling for your session, so you actually make sure you've got energy for the session. And I actually find that my performance probably increases for the first 6 weeks, and then it's about kind of playing it from then, trying to maintain it after 6 weeks rather than let it drop off the bottom.
I think that, you know, if I was approaching fat loss now, if I was like, oh, I could do losing a bit of fat, my performance wouldn't go down in the gym for exactly what you say, because it would just be about tidying a few things up. Because the
Yeah,
reason I would gain weight wouldn't be because I'm eating extra healthy meals.
yeah,
It would be because the other things are starting to sneak in a little bit more than they should. Right? You know,
yeah,
just the balance is a little bit off. And so therefore you're you're taking away the stuff that's not really giving you that energy and those nutrients, and you're keeping in the other stuff, aren't you? You know what you're having at your meals. So
yeah,
yeah, totally agree with that. And actually, if you're doing it like that, it makes going into a deficit easier, and it also makes going back to maintenance a little bit easier because you're still focusing around fueling you around the meals
yeah.
anyway,
And I
aren't you?
think that's
Although you get
something.
so many more calories to play with than most of the people I expect I work with.
Yes, I get quite a few calories to play with, which is nice. But yeah, yeah, I think a lot of it as well is just that. Um, I think when you start to fine tune things, you do start finding that you you take more you take more thought process into how you're eating and when you're eating. So like this is kind of where meal timings actually do matter, is when
Yeah.
you're doing things like a cut, but trying to keep your performance levels high. Similarly to like timing meal timing for you for your run on at the weekend. That's the kind of meal timings that do matter, rather than in general fat loss, meal timings don't matter that much.
No, I think that's the thing. Even if it's just running, you know, I run on a Saturday
Yeah,
and it's a longer run, I have this slight issue that I don't feel very hungry immediately after running, which is quite normal. It's like I think your digestion just slows down a bit. It's just trying to feed your essential, you know, your
yeah,
organs and so on. But then what happens is you get something called the rungeries, and you end up really, really hungry and craving whatever is near you, maybe the next day, and so on. And really, I should try and make myself eat something after that workout, that run,
Yeah.
to help stop that from happening. And I think, I was actually mentioning about fasted training in a podcast recently, and because there's some people are told to do it and other people are told not to do it, and I don't like completely doing fasted training, but there is a big difference. If I was going for that long run, it's going to be a bad idea. But if I was doing it like this morning, I didn't eat before doing a live class, because the live class was, 30 minutes total, but that's including the warm up and the stretch. So I could cope with doing that. And it wasn't an intentional thing. It wasn't like I'm going to do fasted training. It was that I don't really want to eat breakfast at 5 o'clock in the morning so that it's gone through my system to do a workout at that time.
Yeah, it's one of those strange ones though, isn't it? Because everybody talks about fasted cardio, and you're like, there's no significant difference doing it fasted or non-fasted. For me personally, I train in the mornings. I'm not fasted, but I don't eat very much. I have like a protein shake early doors, and I'll train probably an hour or 2 hours after that, and that does me fine because I find it a real struggle to eat before or after training. So because I just can't my stomach's just like, no, I don't like it. Similar to when I played football, I could not eat 2 hours before a game, and I couldn't eat for about 2 hours after the game. So I had to start implementing the use of things like protein shakes, to make sure I was getting the protein in after a game of football or after a training session. But yeah, it's amazing that people still think that fasted is going to be a huge it's a game changer. It kind of really is. It really isn't.
I think that the thing is that you have to know with most things. I think, especially, I don't know what it's like in the male health and fitness world, but for women, in their 40s and beyond, it feels like you're constantly being told you should do this, you shouldn't do this, you need to do this, you need to do that. And really, I think that if it feels wrong, it is wrong. That was something that was on the MASH report years ago. If it feels wrong, it is wrong. And if you're having to really torture yourself to do something because it's meant to be better, you've read it online, I would say that it shouldn't feel like the stress that you're feeling by making yourself do that probably is going to counteract any of the positive benefits that might be there.
Yeah. No, that I use that, if it feels wrong, it is wrong analogy with people, with like clients training, how to work out where you need to the foot position for your squat or your position for your bench. Your body's very clever at working out what feels right, and if it feels right, it generally is right for your movement patterns. But yeah, I think I think there are still a lot of issues within the fitness industry at all levels in terms of, things people keep trying to tell us work, and what don't work, and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. It's like, we all know what we need to do. You just need to find what works best for you.
Because what works best for you is what you're going to find easier even to do consistently.
Absolutely.
I think that if it feels wrong, it is wrong, that thing. I don't know if you heard it in the MASH report, but I'm pretty sure that in the MASH report they were talking about with men's being inappropriate with women. Like, if it feels wrong, like if you're hugging them and they don't really want to be hugged, then it's wrong.
Yep.
I'm sure it was. I'll have to send it to you later. It was very funny. But now when I say it, I'm like, sure that they were talking about sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, fun. What was I going? I was going to say something else linked to what you were saying on the training side of things as well. But that was it. I know what it was. My brain is doing this a lot at the moment, Andy. I'm like, butterfly brain. The thing is, when we first start training, if you haven't strength trained before, it can sometimes feel like you're having to really concentrate on knowing if you're hitting the right muscle. But I don't know if you've experienced this, but as people get stronger, they start being able to notice more in like the different parts of your body. So if you say to them, engage the core, or you say to them, are you feeling like you're getting that in the what you call it? They'll be able to adjust their movement so that they are, and it just starts happening more naturally as people get stronger. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, I think with certainly with training, what I normally find is, especially like you've taken somebody who doesn't really train very much or has never trained before, when you get them into the gym, they're they're they progress very quickly generally from the start, and um, a lot of that's not about building strength. A lot of that's actually about being able to understand the movement and your body actually getting the technique right. So you might find that somebody really ramps up their squat weights quite quickly when they first started squatting, and it's a lot of the time it's because their body now understands how they're supposed to move. So they actually get the movement. So the strength, don't get me wrong, the strength is still coming through, but a lot of it is about the fact that your body now understands what it needs to do to get the weight from A to B, then back to A again. So yeah, I think it's an interesting one, isn't it? It's there are a lot of reasons why your body will, or there's a lot of this is the newbie gains that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
Newbie gains aren't actually huge amounts of muscle that you're building. It's actually your body knowing the movement pattern that you're trying to work through and getting the best out of that movement pattern.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And you do see it all the time. I think most of the time, I've noticed what I said, especially if people have done sport in the past and they've maybe coming back to doing some strength training first time and so on, they haven't been to the gym in a long time, they can really like engage muscles already. They
Yeah,
kind of know where it's there. I think I've only ever worked with a couple of people who really, really struggle over time to understand, what they can't feel it or see it. It's unusual. Normally it gets better and better over time.
yeah,
But it's, it's those were the days when I was more in person working with people, of course. But if in
yeah.
doubt, if you are like, I'm not sure if my form is very good, I don't think there's any personal trainers in a public gym that would mind coming in, like looking at your form or sending it. If you take a video, as long as you're not getting other people in it, get a
Yeah,
video and then send it to your coach,
yeah,
assuming you've got one.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do that. It's one of those ones. If anybody ever needs a form check, quite happy to take a look at stuff for people.
yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of the thing I enjoy doing, so it's nice to be able to sort of pick apart technique.
Well, you've been training as an assessor for other coaches, for trainers,
Yeah,
haven't you?
so I've just passed my qualification to start becoming a tutor for level two
Sure.
personal trainers or level two gym instructors, and then working from that point. So yeah, so no, yeah,
Are you?
it's good fun.
What about if you get sensitive soul who doesn't like bad language?
We'll need to suck it up and get on with it.
You're their teacher.
Exactly, tough shit.
Yeah. Well, you never know
Unfortunately,
who their clients are
you've
going to
come
be.
to the wrong class.
Yeah, wrong class or maybe wrong profession, because there is scientific evidence that says you can train harder if you are swearing. I sent that to you.
Yes, and
Actually
that
backed
is
up by science.
100% right.
Yes. I do you
Motherfucker.
know, I don't know, I don't even realize I'm doing it because I'm normally like can really think about when is appropriate to swear, when isn't. You put me on a roller coaster
Mhm.
and I'm enjoying it, but I can't help what comes out my mouth. Well, I didn't realize. I think I'll be more aware now. But it was when we were in Vegas. I was with my friend, and she was like, "You made me laugh so much," and I was like, "Oh God, I didn't even think about whether there were children around." That I don't think there were, but it's just I was like,
Who cares?
I know. I think it's just. I think it's excited. I was excited, and then that is what happened.
I think there for me, swearing's for me. I don't think swearing's a massive issue. I know a lot of people find swearing uncouth, but I think there's a time and place for it. Like if you're doing it in somewhere that's not the time and place, I understand that there is people will look down their nose at you for that, but swearing is a sign of a good vocabulary.
Well, Yes,
That is truth.
there's only one time that, so when we used to take in, it sounds like waiters and strays, but we used to have foreign students, or they weren't even always students, but young people that were looking to stay places cheap, and they'd come and stay with us. And one time we had this German guy. He was lovely, but it wasn't, I say this to my boys, like, swearing doesn't always add to the conversation. Sometimes it's funny and it really is in the right place and it sounds good, but other times it just sounds like you're just trying to add a swear word because you think it's funny. Anyway, this
Yes.
guy was dropping the C-bomb every sentence, and I was like, okay, all right. It's just, it didn't seem like it was the right place. He'd obviously learned this. But then I had some people over for dinner who he didn't know, and he was doing it all the time. And I was like, you don't know them. You don't know if they mind that word.
The C word, is it's a very divisive word. I personally love it. I think it's a great word. It's very, if you use it properly, it's got a lot of, it's not for a lot of people in Scotland, it's not a negative word. It's actually a
Well,
positive
same in
word.
Cornwall.
Yeah.
They like
So
building sites. They'd be
yeah,
like saying it's a term of endearment.
it's a term of endearment. Yeah, exactly. In Scotland, we champion that one. But yeah, swearing's one of these ones that you do get a lot of people who do push it a little bit too far, and you're just like, yeah, there's no need for that. But it's yeah, if you can pop it into a sentence where it needs to be, it works nicely.
See, my friends in Barbados are telling me this as well because they've got a word, and I'm going to say it because it's like a swear word, but
We're
it's
adults, so we're all adults
we're all
here.
adults. But so they say rasshole, but they say my friend was saying to me, rasshole can be really offensive. You can be like really annoyed, but it can also be like, ah, you asshole, and it's like hey.
So
So
is that like asshole with an R at
I
the start
think,
of it?
well, this is what, right. So I think it's like asshole, but I might have just said something incredibly rude on here and have no idea, but I'm pretty sure it's like saying asshole. But we were like the running group that I would join, like it was the hash on a Saturday, like the hash harriers, but on a Wednesday, and it started during COVID times where they could only have a small group. There's a small group of us that go running on a Wednesday night, and it's called the RH hash, which I thought was rogue hash. Like the RH, they just call it the RH, but they were saying to me, no, it's rasshole, rasshole hash. And I was like, okay, great. But I
Yes.
like the fact that there are words around that it just depends how you say it. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
and I
and
was like,
also as well, like you think about the number of people that find that word extremely offensive. That you couldn't say the C word to Americans because the Americans would
no.
they'd lose their shit.
And I definitely don't think you should ever use it to describe a body part.
God, do you know what? I've never. That's the
I
one
don't think
thing
I ever
I
have, but
have
obviously
never
that is,
ever used it. That's what everybody thinks that it is,
well,
and
there, I
and that's.
know, which is when it's
But
offensive.
actually, yeah, I have never ever used it to describe that, which is one of the
No.
reasons why I get away with using it. It's because
Yeah,
I've never
because
ever used it.
I bet you normally use it as, well, either a term of endearment or talking about somebody and in a funny way where it's like, he's a
Aye,
real, yeah, you
aye,
know, yeah.
that's it,
Let's,
exactly right.
yeah, yes. So, if you are currently training as a personal trainer or fitness instructor in Scotland,
Know
then
when to use the C word.
yeah, just he won't be offended if you call him it. You
Not
might
in the
get more
slightest.
points. I don't know if it's done on
Not
points.
in
I
the
can't.
slightest.
So, oh well, I'm glad that you've passed that and you can now go out and, be a teacher.
Yes. So yes, what about yourself? You've got the your run coming up at the weekend.
Yes, yes, yes. So, like I said, I'm just going into that one for fun, and I'm saying it
Which
like
what so
for
what
fun.
what run? What's the run?
It's a Great North Run, so it is in Newcastle. So this is when I was umming and ahhing because originally I was like, oh, well, I haven't changed for it. I've been in Barbados, so I just haven't done any like long runs there.
Yeah.
And then before that, I'd been a little bit tentative with my training because my back had been on and off, but I'd still been running, and I did do that kind of long run, winging it. So I kind of know I can do the distance.
Yeah.
And I was like, it'll be fine. But it's a long way to go. So there was part of me going, do I just sack it off? But it is a really, really nice atmosphere. Like there's a ballad to do
How
this
far
race.
is it?
It's a half marathon,
Right.
but it's the biggest. So it's bigger than the London Marathon. It's like 50,000 people do it. They have the red
Nice.
arrows flying over the bridge. It's like all the people lining the streets. It's like the locals there are great at coming out and showing support.
Let's be fair. They were all out from the Saturday night. None of them have been home.
Probably.
They're
And
not
actually,
they didn't actually mean to be there. They're still pissing on their way home.
do you know, I did experience it when we were up there last time, because I did it, not, what was it? It must have been 2023, I think. And I had trained for it that time, and I was feeling pretty confident because I was going to run it with my husband. I got heat exhaustion whilst I was running it, and I was like, I was annoyed. What I should have done, and I learned the hard way, what I should have done is actually just fully stop, let myself like cool down a bit, and then I would have probably been able to get running fine again. But I kept trying to push on, and I was feeling dizzy. I wasn't feeling great, and then I'd have to walk a bit. And there were people. It was just a really hot day, and I wore stupid black baseball cap. But there were people collapsing around you, and I think when you're feeling like that yourself, that is really disconcerting when there's other people collapsing. So I think, like, I should now. I know, and I'm like, but in the past, half marathons haven't been too much a problem. But this year, I think even if I can just run the whole thing, I'll be really pleased.
Especially with a niggly back, you just need to kind of see how it feels.
It's annoying because, like, it's always since February, it's not been great for doing distance on road, but it's just got a little bit worse since. Well, actually, it got a little bit worse after doing the big run I did before I went away. But I kind of managed to rehab it a bit whilst I was in Barbados. So I'm hoping this week stretching and getting up regularly on the car journey up to Newcastle, and then once I start running, I'm hoping that it'll just, like, when you're running often, well, no, saying that, last time I did a long run, I got to a certain point and then it was like, but I'm hoping that when I get running, it'll just ease off and it'll feel fine.
Get yourself some Tiger Balm.
Oh, do you know, that is good, isn't it? Yeah.
Or
I've been putting deep heat on, actually, but
no.
I quite like
that. That is the best.
Right, he's got show, just in case you're not watching this, he's showing me something called
It's Quan Lung oil. So it's basically medicated oil. So of years and years of playing football and using deep heat, and do you remember like things like winter? Do you remember wintergreen, like liniment?
I mean, I like the wintergreen sweets that you can get.
You get wintergreen oil that's got like it's really like, so you used to put that on to keep your legs warm.
What's it? It's got it's not eucalyptus. It's got
menthol and eucalyptus and so basically you could go to your local chemist and get that made up for you. Just say, I need some get some wintergreen made up, and they would make it up for you in a brown bottle for you. So Quan Lung oil is one of the best. Like, so my thing with my big issue with deep heat is that from years of using deep heat burns the skin. So when you go for a shower, the skin starts to really get irritated because you're like, "Hey, bugger! That's actually like it's like."
I thought you were going to say something else because I know there are other issues. No,
I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. It stings when you go for a shower, which means that it's actually just stinging the skin. So it's taking your mind off that by making your skin hot.
This stuff, it definitely feels like that.
Quan Lung oil and Tiger Balm are work completely differently in terms of when you work it into the muscle. You can go for a shower and it doesn't burn the skin afterwards, but it actually loosens everything up around it. So Quan Lung oil also has camphor in it, which is what they used to use for battlefield surgeries. So they would chop folks' legs off using camphor. So this has got menthol, methyl salicylate, camphor, eucalyptus oil, spike lavender oil, chloroform.
I know, I've just seen that because it says Health Canada warns consumers that the unauthorised blah, 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 as it contains chloroform.
It's got 0.5% chloroform in it. So,
they don't sell it on Amazon. I wonder if that's why.
You gotta get it off eBay. It's the best place to get it. Or I can send you this one down.
No, that's okay. I could see it. I've got it on. But I can get I can get Tiger Balm easily, but
You
I
get
could
Tiger
get
Balm pretty much everywhere, but yeah, my big issue with the deep heat is the fact that because it burns the skin, I don't think it actually gets anywhere beyond the skin, and all it does is it just masks the pain that you're feeling.
yeah. Well, I've been putting it on just at night time because of the
Yeah,
fact that it masks it. So then,
whereas like Tiger Balm and Kwan Loong oil both kind of get in more into the muscle, which is where you want it to be, which is kind of a big one for as far as I'm concerned.
I love
So
the
yes,
fact that you're recommending stuff you have to get off the dark web.
off the dark web. eBay's not really the dark
I
web.
don't, to be honest, I wouldn't even know how
eBay's
to access the dark web. I don't. So
you
naive.
probably someday will be able to tell us. Not a clue.
Please, yeah, no. Just,
Please, I
but
think you would say, please do tell us.
yeah, well, I was going to say, maybe please don't. I was thinking the puppet. By the way, Ruth, you can get that from Please don't send me any sites that you have to. Like I say, I don't know. You hear people talking about going onto the dark web. I'm like, what is it? But I definitely don't want to go on it. It sounds dangerous.
What is this dark web?
Yeah, exactly. But I can see it. I can see it on here, and I think I'll get some Tiger Balm as well because that can arrive by tomorrow. Which
Yeah, I would
is
definitely
good.
have a look at that. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
The one I had were one of the guys, a guy that I know, had a case of thrush, and he
yeah.
was using Caniston cream to sort of sort everything out. Well, the guys he was playing rugby with squeezed out the top 3 inches of the Caniston cream and refilled it with deep heat. So he obviously put the deep heat directly onto his butthole, which did not end well.
Especially if he's already got thrush. Oh,
Yes.
sorry if you've got a delicate constitution and you're
But
listening,
yes.
because the thought, don't picture it.
No, don't picture it. Do not do that. That's
oh my goodness. Well, actually, I'm glad that you've not told me that, but recommended something else because the thing is, I don't think I'm going to make it worse. I think it is just a niggle. Basically, it flares up 3 times, and it's been since I had rheumatic fever in 2014. It will go 3 times, but normally it goes very quickly. But I didn't get it addressed quite soon enough, I think, when I did cause it an issue in February. And then just since then, it's just been on and off a bit niggly. And I think sitting down on an aeroplane in an uncomfortable seat for a period of time has just meant it's a bit worse. But I'm being able to train as normal. I say as normal. I didn't deadlift. I'm not deadlifting at the moment. I'm just like, it doesn't like super heavy weight with the compression of it. But I am doing things like single leg deadlifts, but I'm using a power band to pull my knee out, to engage it a little bit more, and doing things like that. Just so I'm still getting the hinge at home, but actually, I want your take on this. Talked about this in the podcast. Last week on Monday, it was really sunny here, and it wasn't going to be sunny on Tuesday. So I was like, I don't want to go into the inside my gym at home. I want to train outside. So I changed my workout so I could use a couple of kettlebells and went into the garden. It was about 30 minutes. I did a super quick workout. Next day, day after probably, but over the next 2 days, worst DOMs I've had in ages. And my thoughts on it are probably, because it was only been back a few days, probably a little bit tired, a little bit jet lagged, probably a bit dehydrated from that. But also, I think the lighter weight, maybe because I did split squats. I wonder if range of motion was a little bit more, maybe a little bit slower with the movement. But I was interested in your take because there was a guy at the gym who hasn't been away, and he was like, yes, I did exactly the same. I took a 16-kilogram kettlebell away with him, as you do, and did a workout there. He was like, huge DOMs.
Yeah, could be anything. It could be jet lag and tiredness. It could be dehydration because of the flight. It could be
hormones as well can play a part. But
could be greater range of movement within the actual the reps themselves. It could be more reps. It could be a whole host of different things, and the fact that you hadn't trained for a few days, and sometimes as well.
I trained as normal the week before, but since then I travelled I think I
Yeah,
even went to the gym on the Friday. Yeah, I got straight back into routine when I
yeah.
came back this time. But yes, agreed. Yeah,
Sometimes I also find as well, sometimes the intention, so your actual intent within the session can fire up DOMs quite hard because I had a session like that. Was it start of last week? So I did a chest and bicep session, and on the Tuesday morning, woke up and I was like, Jesus Christ, what have I done to my chest and arms? Like, fuck. I
yeah,
couldn't put my hand across my body without my pec starting to cramp. I was like, what the? But it was more to do with the fact that I had been focusing on bigger range of movement, control of the reps, so like much more control of my tempo. It was one of those sessions where I just really switched in, like my head was like completely on training. And I was just
yeah.
like, right, I'm going to hit every single position here. I'm having a nice big stretch at the bottom of the rep. I'm having a nice squeeze at the top of the rep.
Which you can do when you're not going super heavy as well.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
do think that because my back hasn't been so good, what I've been trying to do is really focus on when I was doing the split squats, I was really trying to make sure that my knees and so, that I was just keeping a really good position and just making sure that I was, and actually I probably was at the bottom of my split squat trying to get a bit of a stretch in there as well. But it was actually I did reverse Nordics, so body weight, and my quads were pretty dead the next day. So they're a sneaky one. I do think that they can be deceptively hard as well. Just
Yeah.
you know,
It's always it is an interesting one, but like you do find that if you work with slightly lighter weights, you know, I know I can get 8 reps out quite easily with a set of 50 kilo dumbbells, like not an issue. But if I'm to revert back to like 36s, I know for a fact that I'm going to get a better stretch. I'm going to get a better squeeze at the top. The range of movements bigger. I can have the dumbbells in the position where I'm going to get the most out of the dumbbell, and it just works. You actually work a lot harder.
I will sometimes program in for people a mobility strength based workout, and I will include things in there like a a chest fly, but with the focus being on going lower and kind of holding that stretch in that lower position and then going into the reps.
Heels of hands down when you do flies. Try
Yes.
that.
So I do that with, hang on, when I'm doing, so I'll do thumbs up, reverse flies,
Yep.
like thumbs up towards the ceiling. But you're right. You have changing the your hand position makes
Yeah.
such a difference. Like if I'm doing band pull aparts on the internet, everyone does them like that,
Yeah.
palms like that. I always do, yeah, I do
That
them
or
that
that
way.
makes a
Yeah,
big, yeah, do you know, this is a really interesting one. So things like barbell row, this is where barbell row is
oh,
an
you
interesting
reverse to
movement
it.
with pronated or supinated
Yeah,
grip. So pronated is basically hands over. Supinated is basically hands facing upwards. Like you could
yes,
put a bowl of soup in.
mm,
Supinated, remember, that's a good way to remember it.
yeah,
A pronated grip will engage the lats more than a supinated grip. And the reason being is as soon as you hit a supinated grip, your bicep, the twist, even if you just turn your hand over, your bicep fires up.
yeah,
You want,
yeah.
and
You can
so,
feel it.
yeah, as soon as you just rotate your hand from
That's
palm
why
down,
guys posing.
exactly, palms down, biceps slightly relaxed, to palms up, your bicep tightens up, which means that if you're doing a barbell row supinated with the hands with palms up, you're more likely to be doing more work with your biceps than you are your back. So
Be why
a
guys
lot
like
of
it
these,
then.
yeah, a lot of these exercises, you need to really think about hand positioning and where the hands need to be. It's similar to things like a
That
dumbbell
pull down.
press. Yeah,
Yeah,
lat pull down, lat pull down. I see so many people doing onto like
they're really
literally the
wide.
rubber grips, and
Yeah,
that's great. But you're not getting your lats aren't working to their full capability there. Your wrist should be above your elbow at all times. So your
yeah,
wrist should come down in the same position. It's the same with a dumbbell press. A dumbbell press, your dumbbell should be above your elbow at all times. So the
mm,
dumbbell doesn't come into the middle, it stays wide. and that's where your pecs are going to get the most work from. But
I,
yeah,
I think
training. This is the stuff that I absolutely like. I'm a complete geek with this kind of stuff. This
I
is the
like
stuff I
it.
really enjoy. It's like I was doing squats last week. So I wear lifting shoes generally, which give you the raised heel
Yeah.
already. But I was also using a set of squat wedges as well. So I had a real heavy.
Nice.
So I was doing Smith machine squats with my lifting
Really
shoes,
hitting the
and so my
quad.
quads were. I didn't even need much weight on it, but my quads were absolutely smoking by the end of the 4 sets.
You can get if you're doing just squats, you can get the big wedges, the angled with the grip tape kind of on it as well.
I
They've got one of
was
those,
using them. I was using them as well as my lifting shoes.
and well, there's a guy at the gym at the moment who's got a dodgy Achilles, and he's been told to rest it, so he's having such a great time, because any squats he's doing, he's been told to really raise
the heels,
which is fun. But I find I've got a short body, and I've got long limbs, so long femur length, and so probably
you need the angles
I
to
do
help
need
get
a
it.
little bit of an angle, otherwise I'm naturally gonna lean forward, even if my back is flat.
Yeah.
It's naturally
Well,
gonna
what
go a
you'll
bit
find
forward.
is because your butt needs to go backwards, and your
Yes,
butt.
because
What
otherwise
happens
you're
is,
not balanced.
yeah, because your knees don't move forward as much, and also things like it's obviously more of a female issue with things like wearing high heels. If you wear high heels for a job, for anything like that, your ankles will probably be less mobile, so you might need to get a heel raise.
I mean, me and heels do not work at all. I don't wear heels, but I do think that I think more people are becoming aware of this with different body types, because there was that whole thing, and it's not just to do with your limb length, like the depth of your hip socket can make a difference as well. People with deep hip sockets and shallow, but the whole ass to grass thing, that people are like, you've got to be able to keep your chest up and get your bum to the floor. Not everyone is going to be able to do that.
They're not designed to do that.
No, and it's just really hard for a lot of people. So I think that there can be this worry about squat form not being good because you're leaning slightly forward and you're not getting your bum to the ground.
Some of the heaviest squatters have got some horrific squat technique. Like literally, chest is basically between their knees, and their hips are down and back. But so this is the kind of thing that the good thing of working with a kind of coaching person is the fact that you can sit down and have a look at things like technique, and how the technique sort of lines up for you as an individual with your biomechanics, because your biomechanics will be completely different to the next person that you deal with. So it's
and obviously compound lifts. So when I say compound lifts, we're talking about squat, deadlifts, the things that are hitting multiple muscle groups, just in case people are wondering. But they're great. But sometimes I think if we do have a problem switching on certain muscles, then it can be nice to also add into programs a bit of a machine. So I don't have the access to machines, but when I was in Barbados I did, and I was like, oh, this is quite nice, sitting on a machine and just knowing that there's nothing, you're definitely hitting those quads. I think it's good to be able to make sure that you're hitting all the muscle groups through the compound moves, and I would never take them out. But I think if you're a beginner and you want to be sure that you're hitting a muscle, or if you're a bodybuilder, of course, then machines have a good function there, as well.
Well, if you're kind of new to the gym, or you might not even know this, if you're not new to the gym, but every one of the machines has a free weight version that the machine was derived from. So a squat is a leg press. A lunge probably would be your leg extension, because it's burning into your squat. Your stiff leg deadlift, or your
just
stiff
not
leg
getting
deadlift,
the hits on the leg extension.
Exactly.
You're not getting.
There's all these things, and you get a lot of snobby gym goers who think that a lot of gym goers. I'm not going to put it at CrossFitters, but they have this thing about like machines being kind of machines not being needed and that they shouldn't be getting used. And actually, machines have got a massive benefit in terms of stability, in terms of exactly as Ruth just mentioned, the fact that you are isolating a muscle to nail, and you cannot get machines. You can hardly, unless you're doing something completely stupid, you will be very unlikely to get the machine variant wrong because
I
they don't work other ways.
I also just find that if I just don't want to be having to, so when we were away, I wanted to do workouts that didn't take too long and also didn't take too long to set up, and I just wanted to go in. So I did do a compound move in each workout, whatever that was. But then I did put some machine weights into my workout because there's something nice about being junk junk with the weight, and then you're
Yeah.
not like taking weights off of barbell, putting dumbbells weight in. And I think when you just want to go and get shit done, having a bit of that in as well, I feel really nice. So,
It's also machine works. Machines are also a very good way of pushing towards failure without the issue of potential injury, because your form will start to fall down a bit, but nowhere near the amount of sort of degradation that a free weights exercise will have. So, I would rarely do a drop set on squats, but I'll do a drop set on leg press quite easily.
yes, yeah,
I would maybe do a drop set on bench, but actually I would probably be more inclined to do a drop set on a chest press, like a machine chest press, because it's easier to control. And you're not gonna get stuck under a bar if you get to the point of where you actually hit failure.
yes,
You just need to step up. You need to just let your hands out and move away from the machine. So yeah, there's benefits to all bits of kit. Whether it's free weights, whether it's machine weights, whether it's body weight, you name it, they all have their place. And it depends on what your goal is and what you're doing to get there, is how you're going to use them.
yeah. I mean, you're so right, of course. But with the going to failure, I also think that when you're doing more of a compound move, either you'll go to failure and you could hurt yourself, but I think often you'll be protecting yourself and it will be easier to stop before failure. I think that I would struggle to get to that point because, if I went to failure on a squat, then there's a chance I'm going to feel like I'm going to fold in half. It's going to be my
Yeah,
core that gives out before my legs.
exactly. And that's it. And that's where machines have a very good kind of big benefit on that side of stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's there's benefits to it all. So
I have seen some horrible squat fails um, on Instagram. I don't know what happened to my algorithm, but it would put anyone off doing. Well, actually, it was bad spotting probably because if anyone's doing that heavy, they really need somebody each
yeah,
end or to have the bars on. But I
yeah.
just people not being spotted well and then folding forward with all that weight, and I was
having
like,
having
oh
seen
no,
having seen that in real life happen and seeing people's vertebrae popping and stuff, it's
no.
it's not fun. It's not
I
fun.
think I'm now at the point in life where I don't really want to be risking myself for
But-
like big
And that's
PBs.
that's why I've not deadlifted in about 15 years. Sadly, the risk to reward ratio of a deadlift for me, the risk is too high and the reward is too low. If I want to build a stronger back, there are much better exercises that variant and stuff like different types of rows, different types of pull downs, that'll be
What would
better
you
or
do to
more
get your
beneficial for
lower
me.
back, just out of
Hyper
interest?
hypers, hyper
Yeah,
extensions, back
GHDs.
raises, yeah,
Yeah, so
stuff like
that's what
that.
I like.
So,
Yeah,
lighter work, good mornings,
or
things
even
like
like
that.
split, yeah, single leg deadlifts and things like I'm doing at
Yeah,
the moment.
so lower back, um, it's the risk to reward ratio of exercises needs to be looked at for a lot of people, and the age that I'm now at, the way that my knees react to certain exercises, like for instance squats. I love squatting, and I'll do heavy squats probably once a month, because if I did them every week, I wouldn't recover well enough to play five-a-sides. I wouldn't recover well enough to do a second leg session a week. So yeah, it's having that ability to know where your limit is that you can still push towards without your ego pushing forward and getting you injured, because you don't want to be injured.
Do you know,
Niggles are just a pain in the arse.
see, deadlifts traditionally have been my favorite exercise in the gym. Love a deadlift. And I never used to trap bar deadlift. I'd only stand a bar because I think I was just, oh, I'll just do standard. Then I started going more towards trap bar because of my back. And I did do some trap bar deadlifting in Barbados because I was like, I just want to see. But I'm going light. I went lighter than I normally would. But I'm having that conversation with myself a lot. I'm like, why do you really want to deadlift? And I think it is just because in the past it's been a favorite exercise. But
It's
equally,
also
it's always the
it's
thing that is going to
it's
aggravate my back.
also but it's also like for it's certainly, especially, regardless of gender, I think, lifting a heavyweight off the ground is a fucking big ego boost. I've just fucking
Yes.
shifted double body weight off the deck. Fucking yes. Like
Yeah.
I'm feeling
Yeah.
great. It's a just a pure strength thing, and
I have gone
that's
way down on my amount I'm lifting off the ground
But
now. But
that's but
yeah.
that's but that's provided that you're not getting niggles, provided you're not getting injuries, that's not an issue now. So you do have to, as much as we say that training doesn't need to make massive changes as we age, you do have to be smarter how you train, so that you do. And it's about, for me, it's longevity. I want to still be able to train in 20 years' time when I'm in my 60s. Like I still want to be able to train. So if I'm still doing heavy deadlifts now and absolutely destroying my knees and my back, in 20 years' time, where are they going to be? You know,
Yeah.
it's not going to be fun. So
No.
I need to be smarter with my training, and I need to work towards, um, the kind of health side of aspects as well as the vanity side. So yeah, for me, the two, I think deadlift's probably the only exercise that I actually don't do anymore. I don't. There's nothing else. I still bench heavy. I still shoulder press. I still do all these things where joints are put under pressure. But deadlift is something that for me, I just don't see that. For me, I can build a back better by doing other exercises.
Yeah, I mean, I love hyper, like a reverse hyper or
Yeah,
back extension Roman chair ones, as well.
yeah,
I love all of those because I feel like it actually I can either use it as a back exercise or actually as a bit of a stretch sometimes as well.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I generally put them in at the end of a back session because, so the funny thing with, like, obviously the issue that you have with the lower back is once you've fired it up, it isn't going to disengage. So this is why things like squat pattern, if you're squatting and you're pushing your hips through the bar or from behind, and you engage your erector spinae, so the muscles that run up either side, as soon as you've done that once, the next rep's going to engage as well. So they're really tough to switch off. So back extensions for me, reverse hypers go right at the end of my back session. In fact, I did back and hamstrings today. I did my reverse hypers after my hamstrings so that I
yeah,
could get the full movement out of my hamstrings before then going and doing my lower back stuff. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's all about where you situate the exercises and what you need out of them.
And like it's Andy and I aren't being kind of like, oh, age means that you can't do this. What the realistic thing about aging, because you can carry on training, and like Andy said, we want to carry on training until you know we're being going on our Zimmer frames out of the gym, whatever. But um, the fact is that recovery does start taking a little bit longer. And that often is because of, well, you've had more wear and tear on your joints over the years. But also, with men, the lowering testosterone can impact recovery. With women, the lowering of estrogen impacts our recovery and a little bit of testosterone. But obviously, we don't have anywhere near the same amount. But that goes down as we age. And because of that, our recovery is going to be impacted. And when you're trying to train and you're not recovering so well in between, your chance of injury is also going to increase and so on. So it's
It's
just really
it's it's
knowing
also
yourself.
It's
Yeah.
also personal opinion as well. I've seen loads of folk that are well into their 60s still deadlifting, and you know what? Fair play to you. If you can still deadlift at that point, happy days. But, for me, I know
I
my
thought that would be
body.
me.
Yeah, I know my body. Well, and that's the thing, but you need to, there's this thing where people get very set in what they do, and depending on how your body reacts, we have to shift. You have to move
Adapt and
and allow.
adjust.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, that's what it's like across the board, not just for training, but for everything. You have to adapt and adjust, and then you know if you need to remove something, don't hold on to it. Just remove it. Try something else. You know,
Yeah,
don't get stuck in this is the only way that I know how to do XYZ. That's not, you know, there are always different ways that you can attack different things. So yeah, it's
100%. And like on my if I'm writing trap bar into group coaching, if I'm writing a trap bar as a potential exercise, I will always put alternatives
yeah,
in there because of the fact that I would not want somebody to do that unless they felt confident about doing it. And even there, you know, I'm saying I'm doing a trap bar here. I'm not putting standard deadlifts. Like I might put it as an alternative that somebody could choose if they wanted to. I
yeah.
think people would only choose that if they felt confident to do that anyway. But I'm not putting them in as the main exercise because of the fact that you need to be pretty confident with engaging your core to being able to bring it short. You know, you've got to be able
It's
to brace that position.
it's definitely an exercise where if you want to deadlift, you definitely need some coaching on it. If
Yeah, I think
before you
so.
start doing it, because it is an exercise that can go terribly badly if you're not doing the right things. And
And even
that's not me being like um, I'm not being over the top on that one, but there have been some pretty horrible injuries from deadlifting with bad form. Um,
oh, I
that's just the
yeah,
way it is. Same with
and I
squatting, you know, benching as well. Benching, people have popped shoulders, they've torn chest muscles, you know, all manner of stuff if you get everything wrong. And that's that kind of that risk to reward ratio that you play with.
I used to I used to cover the guy in the gym, something called strength camp. Now the strength camp it's really great. It's got a mixture of women and men that go. But back in the day when I first used to have it, it was like a babysitting session. You just had men doing the
Mm,
strength camp and they knew
yeah,
each other really well. It was big ego boost of the deadlifting. And actually in the end I'd be like, I'm gonna film you so you can see what I can see.
yeah.
It horrendous, Andy. I was like,
Oh,
please stop, please stop, please stop.
yeah.
And then I'd show them, they'd be like, oh, it's not that great, is it? And I was
No,
like,
sadly the ego takes over. You know,
because
at
they're sharing
maximal
bars,
lift.
so they want to lift the same weight as their mate, you know?
And if you're with your mate, you're trying to lift more than them, so your ego takes over, and you want to try and I can't be beaten by my buddy. So you know,
Yeah.
regardless of how horrific the form is, I'm going to try and lift more than they are.
But then,
So
yeah, saying that, I'm pretty sure that when I did recently, when I found that deadlifting has aggravated my back, it has been compression rather than anything else. But
yeah,
I've had it before when I've just been last rep, normally putting it down, often last rep putting it down. You're not concentrating anymore,
for the
tired.
majority of people, it's exactly that. It's
Yeah,
when you're super fatigued and it's the very end of the set and you're putting the bar down and you put it down slightly wrong, and that's just when it goes, and
yeah,
that's
and that's
sadly how
why,
it goes.
and I think that's why when I'm less likely to get injured if my back can cope with it. If I was going super heavy for two, because I can
Yeah,
really engage and switch on for two. But if I'm doing 8 to 10 and I'm going reasonably heavy, you get to that last one and you're not necessarily concentrating
yeah.
anymore. I think.
It's
Anyway,
again why I would never program like endurance deadlifting. Like
no.
your back's just not used to being put under that amount of stress for that amount of time.
But you can do endurance, hamstring curls, and
Oh,
leg
absolutely.
extensions.
Go and do a set of 20 leg curls. You'll fairly feel your hamstrings and butt squeezing on that one.
I quite like a good leg curl, actually.
Uh, I was
Yeah.
doing single leg seated leg curls today.
Do
Sets
you
of
know what
12. Brr.
I do quite like a seated leg curl. I actually prefer them to a prone leg curl because when you're doing prone leg curls, I always find it really, um, when I'm lying there, like I find it weird on my quads as well. Like when I'm
Mm.
holding on,
Have
I
you
just
ever
don't
done?
find it.
I used the leg extension to do standing leg curls the other day. It's actually quite a nice movement.
I have never done that, but I do like a rower leg curl.
Oh, nice. I like
So
that. I like that. I'll take a video of me doing
Please.
single or doing single leg standing leg curl using the leg extension. It's a nice
I'm
position to move from.
I'm tempted to join or go like occasionally to a normal gym so that I get a bit more access to those as well.
Yeah,
Especially if
just
I'm not
for
gonna
just
be.
for leg day.
So today's podcast episode has been a little bit more training based. It's
It
been a
certainly
good
has.
catch up, but it's been very interesting. So Andy's recommended some not available in the normal shopping channels ointment for my back. So I will give you feedback on how that goes. Keep it away from the kids
It
with the
smells amazing,
It's
but
chloroform.
well, yeah, you don't get knocked out. Don't worry, there's not enough in it. But do not touch your eyes, your nose, or anywhere sensitive until you've washed your hands, because on personal reference, that shit burns. It burns.
Okay.
So
We've all
put
learned
it
a
on,
valuable
wash your
lesson today.
hands, then you can do what you want.
Okay. So valuable lesson learned. And then
Yeah.
we obviously have chatted a bit about training as we age. So I'm hoping that you've managed to get some snapshots of things, nuggets to take home. And we'll try and make it a bit more regular now that I am back from Barbados and Andy's finished his course.
Yes. As
Perfect.
always, you can
Yes.
grab us on Instagram. Ruth is at Ruth Mac MAC Fit. I'm Andy_Wolfpack. Please give us a rating on wherever you get your podcast from, Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, whatever it is. The ratings just give us a bit more viewability for anybody that may be interested in the subject. And if you're listening to it, screenshot it, stick it up on Instagram, whatever social media you use. Well, I'm generally only on Instagram, so it doesn't really matter. Tag us in it. All good.
Thank you very much. I'll look forward to chatting to you again, Andy, next time.
Excellent. See you soon.
Goodbye. Bye.